Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and we are back with our biggest tier list yet. The tier lists are back, guys. I don't know if I've maybe exhausted this idea a little bit by now. This may be our last tier list. If you want more, I guess let me know in the comments or something. I've got like one more idea for a tier list, but I don't know if it's that good. We'll see, I guess. But this is going to be a big one, guys, because we are going through 50 players, the 50 most popular players in FPL at the time of recording. I'm going to rate them all and put them all in a tier list. So it could be fun. It might be a long video. I'll try and speed things along, I guess, but we'll see. Guys, if you do enjoy this video, of course, please do leave a like. 2,000 likes on this video, maybe. That would be pretty sick. And do subscribe if you haven't done already, because I know 50% of you guys watching right now have not subscribed. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, guys, let's have a look at the tier list. Okay, so as I said, there is a lot of players on here, a lot of players. We're going to try and whiz through them. We're going to be putting them all onto this tier list. I may be a little bit harsh just because the most popular players are usually popular for a reason. So I'm going to do slightly harsh ratings in this video, I think. And also, if your player, your favourite player, is not on this tier list for whatever reason, the reason is because they're not very popular. You can't sit with us, unfortunately. This is for popular. This is the cool kids table in terms of FPL players, like popular players only. Right, guys. So yeah, we're going to start off with the least popular out of the 50. So the 50th most popular all the way to the most popular player in the game at the moment. So we're going to start off with Benjamin White. I'm going to put him in the meh category. Not a player that really bothers me too much either way. Reports that he may have a minor injury as well. Doesn't excite me very much. I mean, you can do a lot worse for 4.5 million, but I'm not, like, it's meh. Like, I'm not really interested in this one. I'm going to put Mitrovic in a similar category. I'm going to put him in low tier meh, I think, as well. Yeah, the fixtures, even like the first 7 fixtures, I think are like so bad. Like even his good fixtures are like Brentford and Brighton, which can be really tough fixtures for an attacker. You know, maybe if you're a defender, those fixtures are considered okay, but for a forward, I don't know, not feeling it. So 7.9% ownership, like too much. I'm going to put Bernardo Silva in and avoid. Like I said, these ratings are a little bit harsh, so I do kind of understand why someone would go for Bernardo Silva, but at the same time, I would never consider him. He is a player that only really thrives when De Bruyne is not on the pitch, basically, because he has to play such a reserved role. And I just don't really like him for 7 million. I think you can get some other players that are much better for the same price. So he's going to go in and avoid. I'm going to put Murphy in avoid as well. Like for a 4.5 million midfielder, and we'll get to other 4.5 million midfielders soon. There's one more on this tier list that is much better than Murphy. That's all I'll say. Murphy, not really expected to get many minutes. You know, I doubt he'll hardly play at all in this coming season. So not really a player that we want to be looking at and potentially playing maybe in a slightly defensive role when he comes off the bench, or, you know, I just can't see him getting many minutes. So pointless waste of a slot in your team. I think there's actually a few 4.5 million midfielders that are better than him. So he is destined to go down to 4.4 million. You know, when people start selling him, when they realize he's, you know, not a very good FPL asset, he's going to drop down to 4.4, maybe even 4.3 million. So definitely a player to avoid there. Gabriel is like, he's like, I guess a high tier meh. I guess he's optional. Like, you can get a jammy headed goal from Gabriel. He is very good in the air, and Arsenal did so well for set pieces last season. So, all right, I guess he is optional. I don't know if you can get consistent returns from him. He's more like a player who will randomly pop up with a return. You can't really predict it when it's going to happen. You know, he's just as likely to score a goal against Man City as he is to score against Bournemouth or someone. Like, that's kind of the nature with your set-piece header merchants. Good to have in your team, but the returns are a little sporadic, which makes it kind of difficult to predict. I'm going to put Chilwell in. I think I'm going to put him in a great option, actually. I think he is genuinely a great option. The minor concern with Chilwell is he going to be ready for the new season? Obviously, his pre-season minutes have been limited, but all reports suggest that he is working hard and he's going to be, you know, he's going to be ready for the new season. I just don't know whether he'll maybe start a little bit slowly for Chelsea. And I guess the Chelsea defence, I'm sure people have a few concerns about that. But you know what Chilwell was like when he was playing last season. He was absolutely unreal. We know he's going to play at either left back or left wing back. There's no chance of him moving to a centre back like Reece James. So is good. It's good. And I do like Bowen as well. I'm going to put Bowen up there in a great option. I think people are kind of sleeping on him because he's had a big price rise, obviously, and his opening game is against Man City. I've said this so many times on this channel, but he scored 2 goals last time he played Man City. He doesn't mind playing on the counter-attack at all, so that will be absolutely fine. Zinchenko, I'm also going to put in a great option. I'm actually going to put him... I think I'm going to put him above Chilwell. It just looks like he's just going to be a really good option. Like, for the value, for 5 million, he's going to be starting the season probably in the left back position if Tierney is not ready. But I can really see him getting a lot of minutes in sort of the attacking midfield roles over the season. And if we can get a defender in an attacking midfield role, then that's pretty good. So, yeah, maybe I am being a bit generous here, but I feel like he is genuinely a good option. And maybe if we get too many people in the great options, maybe we'll drop them all down to optional, I suppose. But for now, I'm going to put him in a great option. Cucurella, as it stands, whilst he's at Brighton, I think I'd rather spend 4.5 million on a Brighton defender. I'd maybe rather go for a Lamptey or a Lewis Dunk, I think. So for that reason, I'm actually going to put him low tier meh. But if he moves to Manchester City, even then, he's probably going to take a few games to bed into the team. He's not going to be starting immediately. So even then, still probably a meh. I think Mason Mount is optional. Like, you know, he did so well last season. Maybe a little bit underrated as an FPL asset, to be fair. I wouldn't say he's like a high-tier, great option, must-have player, though, really. He's just kind of like an option. He's like an option, so optional makes sense for him. Forster. Fraser Forster is going to go right at the bottom of a void. He is at 9.9% ownership, and I know exactly why. It's because he scored a few FPL points last season when he was playing for Southampton, and when people pick their 4 million goalkeeper, if people don't know what they're really doing, they'll just pick the player who scored a few points last season, and obviously Forster did score a few points last season. All I can say is that unless Lloris gets injured this season, there's no chance Fraser Forster gets any minutes whatsoever. And not only that, you're wasting one of your 3 Spurs spots. Like, what if you come to a situation where you want to have, you know, Kane, Son, Pulisic, maybe you're looking at Kulusevski, maybe looking at some of the other players, Doherty maybe gets a decent amount of minutes, and suddenly you realise, oh, I've already got 3 Spurs players, and one of them is Fraser Forster sat on my bench, being my, you know, dud 4 million goalkeeper on the bench. Doesn't make any sense. If you're going to pick a goalkeeper for 4 million that is not going to play any games for you anyway, you may as well pick from a team that you're not going to want a lot of players from, if that makes sense. Or either pick a player who you think may get a couple of minutes, or pick a player who is just going to be from a team that you can't see yourself investing too heavily in. And Spurs is a team we'll probably be invested in heavily. So, yeah, waste of a Spurs slots, I would say. Definitely an avoid. James Ward-Prowse is kind of low tier optional, high tier meh. 6.5 million is a decent amount of money, but it could work out. It could work out. He's one of those players, and I've said this before, if you're going to own Ward-Prowse, pick him and just stick with him the whole season. Don't even think about transferring him out, because the moment you transfer him out, he'll score 2 free kicks in one game. Like, that is just how it works. I can't tell you who that's going to be against. You know, it will happen randomly. He's another one of those players, and this is always the case with set piece related players, whether that's players who get headed goals from set pieces or players who take set pieces. You can't predict when there's going to be a free kick in a dangerous area for James Ward-Prowse. You know, it could happen against Chelsea, it could happen against you know, Nottingham Forest. You don't really know, and you'll get into a lot of people get into a situation where they think, you know, James Ward-Prowse, he's got Chelsea and then Leicester and then Wolves next. It's kind of not a great run of fixtures, and he's blanked the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to remove James Ward-Prowse because I don't really think like that's going to work out. And then he bangs like 3 free kicks in 3 games, and he's got all the points that you dreamed of. So if you're going to go for Ward-Prowse, stick with him. Andy Robertson, I actually think is FPL royalty. Like, genuinely. But maybe I put him in a great option. Because I don't know how many royalty players do we want. I mean, okay, I said I was going to be harsh at the beginning of this video. I'm turning out to be a little bit generous, but no, Robertson, genuinely, second half of last season, no player was scoring more points than Robertson. Like, he was the highest scorer in terms of points per game in the second half of last season. He was absolutely smashing it. He was on top of the world, and he missed a few games as well for various rotation reasons. Coming into this new season, we're expecting Robertson to play every game. He'll be super nailed on, one of the most nailed on players for Liverpool, and he should get some clean sheets with Liverpool's excellent run of fixtures, and we know he'll get assists, we'll know he'll take shots on as well, play super advanced on the pitch, and he's going to do so well. Ramsdale, let's put him in like high tier optional. I think he's okay, like take him or leave him. I can see why people would go for him. Diaz, I think he's a great option. Minor concerns that he might have a little bit of an injury problem, but I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay for the beginning of the season. Vestergaard, absolute avoid. This is a player who is going to... Actually, I'll put him higher than Forster, but this is a player who is not going to get any minutes for Leicester. I know he got minutes last season, but that's because there was so many injuries at centre-back, and also Leicester kind of had a lot of faith in Vestergaard at that time. That faith has just completely gone. I would be surprised if he stays at Leicester, and if he does... he's going to be getting no minutes and people will be selling him so much and his price will drop to 3.9 and 3.8, etc, etc. And you'll find yourself with less team value over time because you've picked a player who's getting sold en masse. Odegaard, don't like him as an FPL pick. Like, he doesn't shoot enough. Like, yes, he passes, he can get the occasional assist, but he's usually second assist and he doesn't shoot very often. And like, goals are where you really get your points. So I'm going to put him low tier, meh. In fact, he's arguably an avoid. But let's put him low tier, meh. Tomiyasu, injury concerns, but when he's back from injury, he'll be okay. So I don't know if he's going to be ready for the start of the new season. If he is, he probably goes up to optional. If he's not, then he's not obviously an avoid. So we're going to put him somewhere in the middle there, because I think if he is available, he's a pretty decent pick for a 4.5 million defender. Raya, great option. Let's put him pretty high up. Like him. Yeah, he's actually my goalkeeper in my draft right now. I think he's the best of the 4.5 million goalkeepers. I think he's a really good option. Lyle Taylor, I think he's an avoid. I can't see him getting any, if any minutes at all, really. Another one of those players who starts off, people kind of think, oh, I'm going to go for this cheap forward, but everyone else has gone for the same cheap forward, and everyone at the same time realises, okay, I've gone for the wrong cheap forward. Everyone sells him, and his price drops. Another player like that. Second half of last season, Nottingham Forest actually loaned him out because they didn't really want to play him, and then replaced him with another striker, and then they've bought another striker since then as well. So he's probably third in the pecking order right now in terms of Nottingham Forest central striker role. So not many minutes probably. We got Sancho. I guess he's optional. He's had a good pre-season, to be fair. I'm not super hyped up about him, to be honest. Manchester United, I still don't fully trust, and I know there's so many Manchester United fans who play FPL. You guys know who you are. Who you do like your Manchester United assets, and I'm not against it. Like, play the game however you want to play it, but I don't know. 7.5 is a decent amount of money for a risk on a team that doesn't have great fixtures at the start. We don't fully know. Yes, they've been playing well in pre-season, but you never know how that's going to fully translate into the Premier League. Like, yes, Manchester United beat Liverpool 4-0 in pre-season, for example. Does anyone really think that's going to happen when push comes to shove, when they play each other in, like, what is it, Gameweek 3, something like that? So, yeah, we'll see. And Gazzaniga obviously played a few games for Fulham last season, but I think he's actually going to drop down to the third in the pecking order. But at the same time, he's a 4 million goalkeeper who you're just going to leave on your bench. You're probably not going to want to have too many Fulham players anyway. He serves a purpose. So, he's a meh. He's not an avoid. He's just like, whatever. He serves a purpose to be a 4 million cheapest possible goalkeeper. I get that one. Maybe his ownership suggests that he might drop down in price to a 3.9 potentially. That's the only minor concern with him, but a minor concern indeed. Van Dijk is only at 12% ownership. Like, usually, he is like, with all due respect, like, more casual players typically love Van Dijk, and he goes to like 30%, 35% ownership game week 1 because everyone just picks him because they think, who's the best defender in the Premier League? Probably Van Dijk. He must be good for FPL. And to be fair, he is okay for FPL. And I think a few people are recognising that. But would I be picking him over Robertson, Alexander-Arnold in defence? Probably not. So I'm going to leave him. I'm going to leave him in optional. He's an option. Individually as a player, he's probably a very good FPL asset. Over the season, he's a good FPL asset. But in terms of targeting those big Liverpool players for these opening fixtures, which is probably what we want to do, you probably want to spend a little bit more money and go in a little harder on your Liverpool guys. Rashford, I like. I like at 6.5. I think he's. I'm not sure if he's. Is he a great option? I guess if Bowen is a great option, then Rashford's a great option. So we'll put him low tier on the great option. Not bad. I like Sanchez as well. I think he's a pretty decent option. You know, if you're going to go for a 4.5 goalkeeper, Raya or Sanchez will be the two players I'd go for. Martinelli, I'm going to put very high tier, great option. He should start for Arsenal. Had a good season. Unless Arsenal sign a new winger, it's just going to be Martinelli pretty much, well, most games, 80-90% of games he should play. Arsenal have great fixtures as well, so that's really nice. And he's only 6 million. Like, that is a real good bargain. And I think the 6 million price tag is what makes him a great option. If he was like a 7 million player, he'd probably go down into optional / meh. But 6 million is just such a bargain for a player like that. Ederson, I think, is optional. If that's the way you want to go into the Man City defence, then I kind of get it. Super nailed on. But he's not going to get any save points. He's not going to get any bonus points. I think over the last 3 or 4 seasons, he's averaged like 2 bonus points per entire season. So don't expect like any points aside from the clean sheet points from him, I guess. So, you know, if you can find another way into the Man City defence, I probably would do that. And I would probably suggest that, particularly if we're looking at just the opening fixtures, just playing between Game Week 1 and your first wild card, because that's what we're all going to be doing. We're all going to be wild carding around Game Week 8, 9, 10 at the latest, really. I think you could match Ederson's points over that period with a different goalkeeper. Over the whole season, Ederson will probably do better, but if we're breaking the season up into chunks, which is probably, you know, the best strategy given the season and the World Cup unlimited transfers and your 2 wild cards as well, I would probably stick with a 4.5 million and just play with them for the opening fixtures. And but look, I don't mind Ederson. I don't mind him. I think he's a pretty good option. I just don't think he's absolutely essential. I don't think I'd put him in great option. Nunez, super risky. I'm going to put him in meh. Or should I put him in optional? Again, he's another one of those players, like, if you're going to get 3 Liverpool players, is there any need to risk it on Nunez? Probably not. So, going to leave him there. Trippier, I love. He's my favourite of the 5 million defenders, I think. Other than, maybe Kyle Walker is also up there, but I think Trippier is probably going to be my favourite 5 million defender. Great opening 2 fixtures. Newcastle, really good defence second half of last season, so hopefully they can continue that. And he's an absolute set-piece beast. So I think there's points on offer there. I'm going to put Saka in. I think I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him like around Bowen, I guess. I think he is a great option. I don't think he's an absolute must. Maybe in that case I should drop him down. In fact, I'm going to drop a few of these guys down. I'm going to drop Bowen down. And I'm going to drop Rashford down because I feel like I've been a little bit generous with some of these ratings. Because, you know, we want to put, you know, royalty in the great options. We really want to reserve for the best of the best. And I'm not convinced Saka is. I'm not sure Bowen is. Like, you know, Rashford as well. They're great options. Well, they're good options. But are they great options? I don't know. They're like nice players to mix your team up with. Like, they're good differentials, but they're nowhere near essential, are they? Same with De Bruyne. I don't think he's quite essential. I think he will get a decent amount of points. I think we've got to put him in optional. He's always, the problem with De Bruyne has always been in FPL a budget thing. You know, we all want Salah. Well, most of us do. We all want like Haaland and Kane and Son, and then De Bruyne is kind of the 5th best of the, you know, of the 5 huge premium players, right? So it's really difficult to get him in. Like, I don't see how we can get him in. Now I'm going to get loads of flack from this, but I'm going to put Bruno Guimaraes in meh. You guys aren't going to like that. In fact, I might even put him slightly lower in meh. I just don't really, I'm not really feeling this pick. You know, I like the 2 opening fixtures for Nottingham Forest, for Newcastle, but like he's I don't know if his attacking returns we saw last season are sustainable or not. Like, he's a box-to-box midfielder for 6 million. That seems a little bit expensive for 6 million. Like, Martinelli, you can get an actual attacking winger in the box, taking shots constantly. Don't get me wrong, Bruno is a magical, beautiful player. I'm not really feeling this one. But maybe that's a personal choice, and I know you guys are going to destroy me. Coutinho, again, I think I put him even lower. I'll move Bruno. You know what? I'll move Bruno to the top of meh, and I'll put Coutinho slightly lower in meh. Like, 7 million, bad price point. Fixtures are very short term thinking, really. And he's just so inconsistent. Coutinho is just so inconsistent. Wonderful player. But his FPL returns last season we saw were just, like, it was like you get one 15-pointer and then you get 8 consecutive blanks. That's not good enough for me. Maybe I'm being harsh, but it's not good enough for me. I think Alisson is, I know, and this is another one that I'll get slated for, but he is, out of the popular Liverpool players, he's probably my least favourite. I just don't see why you waste a Liverpool slot on a goalkeeper. Like I said, with the goalkeepers, if you're looking at the whole season, you'll probably look at Alisson and say, yeah, Alisson will, compete with Robertson and maybe Alexander-Arnold over a full season. But we're not playing for a full season. You're playing in 3 chunks, and I think you can match or get close to Alisson's FPL points, between Game Week 1 and Game Week 8 with a 4.5, 5 million goalkeeper. Maybe we can go for Edison, and that allows you to go for Salah, Trent, and then pick one of Robertson or Diaz. So there we go. Neto, like him. Good option for 5.5 million. Very, very good bargain. I think he probably goes in around here. Yeah, fabulous preseason, fabulous player. A few people still pretty doubtful about him, but I don't see why. I think people are just kind of hung up on last season when he was injured and kind of forgetting what a great player he is. But he is great. I like him. I like him a lot. We're going to put Matty Cash somewhere in maybe high optional. I think he's high optional. Like, he is one of probably the second or third best 5 million defender. But is he like essential? No, he's not essential. I think he can do a little bit better. Harry Kane, I'm going to put in FPL royalty. I think he's going to have a fabulous start to the new season. No surprise of me gassing up Harry Kane. I've been gassing him up all pre-season. I just like him as an option. Mendy is kind of fallen down my pecking order. I'm a little bit worried about Chelsea defence. I'm a little bit worried that he won't get save points or bonus points. And I think 4.5s and maybe some other 5 million goalkeepers could actually end up matching him. So I'm going to put him like somewhere around here, I think. Andreas, I mean, I'm considering putting him in FPL royalty. In fact, I am. You know what? People are going to hate me for putting him in there. But the simple fact is that if you are playing with a midfield, so your midfield in your FPL team, if you're playing with 4 midfielders in your starting 11 or less, then that makes Pereira essential. He is the most essential bench midfielder possible. He is, to me, FPL royalty. I know, he hasn't done anything in FPL for a couple of years, but if you're looking for a 4.5 midfielder, you literally cannot do better than Andreas Pereira. Like, you literally can't. He's just the ultimate 4.5. And with so many of us with four players in our midfields, or 3-man midfields as well, potentially, it makes Pereira essentially essential. So there we go. And similar thing with Nico. I think he's... I can't in all respect put him in royalty. Let's move them down to here. But they are amazing options because they are just the ultimate bench options. Like, you cannot do better in terms of bench options. Nico Williams, obviously, ownership has gone crazy because we know that he is kind of, score us regular FPL points. He is playing for Nottingham Forest that like to defend rigidly, deeply, maybe we'll say, and he's going to be playing in a wing-back position, maybe fairly advanced. So Nottingham Forest, if they can be the new, Sheffield United from a couple of seasons ago, I'm kind of thinking something like that. Then he could potentially score you a decent amount of points, and you spend nothing on him. The minimum you can spend is 4 million on a defender, so you're essentially spending no money on him. Really, quite nice. Greenwood, I don't like. I'm going to put him in meh. I think the only reason you would pick Greenwood is if, you know what, I'm going to leave things as they are. Don't take these tier lists too literally, by the way. There may be some players you maybe switch around a little bit. But Greenwood, I think he is, out of all of the players who are going to drop down to down in price, or players who are going to lose value, I would say Greenwood is probably top of my list of players I expect to drop down in value because so many people have him and so many people are going to have him on their bench. And he's not going to score high points, probably. He's going to score, maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 3 points in the opening 4 or 5 game weeks, and people are going to be like, maybe I'll switch him out for someone else. And he's going to drop down in price, and you're going to lose team value because of him. The only reason I would say that you should go for Sam Greenwood is if you have 2 forwards on the bench and you really are just looking for a forward who can potentially get you a 1-pointer, because that's probably mostly all he's going to be good for in 90% of game weeks, unfortunately. It's just not really going to happen. And honestly, if you are relying on a 4.5 million forward for points off your bench, then that probably suggests that your bench structure is not quite where it needs to be, because like, you don't want to be relying on players who may not even get 1 point on your bench. Like, a forward to me, a 4.5 million forward, for me personally, is 3rd on your bench. You never need to touch them. You'll never have to rely on them ever. And they should never come onto your starting 11. And if they do, then it's probably because you've got a couple of holes in your starting 11 that you desperately need to deal with. So, yeah, unless he has an absolute blinding season and just finds this amazing form and becomes the next hidden gem, I really feel like he is a little bit of almost an avoid for me. In fact, let's put him in avoid. I wouldn't be going for him. I'd just go for a lower ownership 4.5 million forward, stick him 3rd on your bench and forget they exist. Sonny's a great option. Is he FPL royalty? I suppose he is, isn't he? I do worry his minutes may be reduced slightly with the arrival of Richarlison. But yeah, I'm not sure. Let's put him like there. I prefer Salah, I prefer Kane, but maybe that's I think I prefer Haaland as well. So maybe that's a personal choice, but still not super high. I really like Luis Diaz. I think he's the best 8 million midfielder that you can get. Again, the problem is who you're gonna sacrifice from Liverpool. You can only have 3 men. Perisic, let's put him in optional. I think he gives you a little bit of risk. Let's put him around here. He's a little bit of a risk. He hasn't had the most minutes in pre-season, and kind of a lot of people are saying that he may be rotated a little bit with all of Spurs' many fullbacks that they have at the club at the moment that don't seem to be moving on. He could, but if he plays, and if he gets over 60 minutes a game, he could be an insane option. So he's a risky pick. If it goes well, it will go very, very well. If it goes poorly, you're in trouble. Reece James, going to put him great option. I think we're going to put him great option. I think we're going to put him slightly higher than Chilwell, just because we know James is available. He has the full fitness. My minor concern is that either Chelsea move to a 4 at the back, or they play James at right centre back rather than right wing back, which could be a little bit annoying. Cancelo, I think, has to be up there as one of the better options here. Is he essential? No. Is he a great option? Yeah, he is. You know, he's high ownership for good reason. Let's put him, like, I'm going to put him here. Trent, FPL royalty without a doubt. I'm going to put him in first place. I'm going to put him in first place for now because he is going to get replaced by Mo Salah. Won't speak too much about Mo Salah. You guys already know he's the greatest FPL asset of all time. I think he's absolutely essential. I don't understand how he's only the 3rd most popular player in FPL. He should be the 1st. Everyone should have him. I think anyone who doesn't have him is crazy. Again, just my personal opinion, and that's what these tier lists are about, really. They're about personal opinion, aren't they? And let's put Erling Haaland in a great option. I don't think he's quite FPL royalty, but he is a very good option. Like, maybe I'd be slightly controversial here. Put him. Now, let's stick him at a high tier, great option. Again, the only thing letting him down is his price. It's difficult to get all of the premium players in, isn't it? And finally, Gabby Jesus, who is also a great option. 8 million, really good bargain for him. I think he's probably the best of the 8 million players. Out of all, even including the 8 million midfielders, I think Jesus is the best of all of the 8 million players. He is in a forward position, great pre-season, focal point of Arsenal team, maybe a bit of Arsenal bias showing right now. But I say a little bit of Arsenal bias showing right now. I'll put loads of Arsenal players quite low down, so maybe not. Loads of Arsenal players in this tier list, to be fair. Arsenal players clearly very popular, but they do have really good fixtures, and they're priced quite well, aren't they? But there we go. That's the tier list done. I think that looks pretty good. I'm sure you guys are going to absolutely obliterate me and disagree with everything on here. Do let me know if you strongly agree or disagree with anyone on here, and tell me why as well. Because we're always really interested to hear some of your opinions. If you want to have a go at this tier list yourself, I will leave a link to this tier list in the description. You can have a play around with it. It's a lot of players. It will probably take you a while to go through all the players, but if that's your idea of fun, I mean, it's my idea of fun, so maybe it is yours as well. But there we go. That is the tier list done. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Don't forget to like before you go. Really appreciate that. Really helps push out the content and stuff. Really, yeah, it's just a nice thing to do. Thank you. Subscribe if you haven't done already. If you think you've subscribed and you're not sure, double check. Maybe you're not subscribed, and maybe you should. And maybe you need to click the bell button if you want the notifications of when these fantastic tier list videos come out. Maybe I'll do another one before deadline. We've still got like a week and a half left until, well, not even that. It's like a week and 2 days now before the final Game Week 1 deadline. Maybe we'll try and squeeze in one more next week, but we'll see. Let me know what you think about that. But there we go, guys. That is at the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.